Back 8:43 on our Wednesday morning, the race for Houston mayor is headed for a runoff between Democratic heavyweights, State Senator John Whitmire and U.S. Representative Sheila Jackson Lee. They will face off again on December 9th. Joining me live this morning to talk about this election is Sheila Jackson Lee. Thank you so much for coming on the show this morning. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. Good morning to everyone.
I know it was a late night for you, so again, we are very appreciative of you coming on this morning. Talk to us about your thoughts on last night's results. I want to start there.
Well, first of all, I was up early this morning, as I was last night, late, thanking all of the voters who came out and supported my vision, all of the hard workers, the volunteers. We were a volunteer-driven campaign. I love that. We were a neighborhood-driven campaign. I got more endorsements from a variety of neighborhoods from as far away as our Bay Area, Clear Lake, where NASA is, where our tech future is, among others. And of course, the many young people, Gen Z, millennials, the faith community, the diverse community. That's part of my message, that Houston is an international city, a destination city. Unity was my message. We can do this together and we can move into the future as we fix the problems that I heard. We can build on fixing them. I know how to do it because throughout my career, I've been the city congresswoman. Every issue that the city had problem, I was there to be able to assist and get the job done.
Ms. Jackson Lee, I know you mentioned a few of these measures with your last response. Your campaign, as you know, has focused largely on rebuilding our infrastructure, prioritizing public safety, as you just mentioned, affordable housing, promoting small businesses, and civil rights. Are you satisfied with the response from voters thus far on these measures?
Well, I think the runoff, excitingly, is an opportunity to tell your story anew, tell my personal story, my history, and then as well, my vision for the city. I want this to be a city that can do two things at once: get the violent criminals off the street, have a strong public safety. As you well know, I provided the Houston Police Department $6 million. No other candidate has done that just last week, to add more officers and as well to ensure that there's a focus on mentoring, on mental health services. In my area of expertise, we want to put a stop to sex trafficking in Houston, Texas, human trafficking, and I've got that whole community working and advocating for me being the next mayor, and domestic violence. So I'm very glad that those issues were front and center, but at the same time, they bought into the next level, taking Houston into the future, creating a research center of the Southwest, or maybe of the nation, to be able to create a tech corridor or to encourage new starts throughout the city, starting from Clear Lake all the way east, west, and west and north and south, to be able to do that. And then we've got a powerful community of Gen Z and millennials, and they like entertainment. What about an entertainment complex that can, in fact, draw their talents here while we get more investment, while we get more jobs? That's the kind of mayor that I will be. Fixing the basic services, making sure the potholes are not just fixed and then another pothole, fixed and then another pothole. What is the newest technology that we can use alongside, as a senior member of the Budget Committee in the House of Representatives, to be able to look at a serious budget and to ensure that we have prioritization to do the basic needs of this city. But we've got to bring in more revenue, and that's with more investment by companies from around the nation and around the world. I will be able to lead and do that.
I'm a resident of 3rd Ward. I'm very passionate about this community, and I'm very proud of my neighbors. Listening to my neighbors talk about questions, concerns, many of them say that they only see candidates during the election season. They feel exploited. They don't see you or your opponents enough throughout the rest of the year. What would be your message to these folks who say they do not feel seen or heard unless it's an election season? What is your message to them?
I love that question. And I would take with great politeness a great issue with that. I believe that as a member of the United States Congress, as a former member of the Houston City Council, former Assistant Commissioner for Agriculture for the state of Texas, I have seen neighborhoods, and they have seen me. Let me try to engage your neighbors. But Sheila Jackson Lee has been seen in our faith community in Third Ward. We have given out food. We have been there for the pandemic by doing testing sites right in Third Ward, vaccination sites. We're a key component to the Emancipation Park being restored in terms of some federal dollars, or working with the management districts. We have really worked with our schools, HISD. So we've been in Third Ward, but we've been in First Ward, Second Ward, Third Ward, Fourth Ward, Fifth Ward, Sixth Ward, but we've been on the West Side, the East, the North, and the South, because I have worked with federal dollars that have impacted beyond my congressional boundaries. So what I would say is, as the mayor of the city of Houston, we find many ways to engage our constituents. Obviously, meetings. I want to have State of the City more often than once a year. They will get a state of an issue, what we're doing. It'll be a transparent city hall. It'll be an open door. And again, we'll focus on education as well, so that families can see us caring about providing public-private partnerships to help our school districts with our wonderful corporate and benevolent community to do unique things around reading, around technology, around exposure, around travel. They can help our students. And then we want to make sure that we have the business community engaged in what is the best way to streamline our permitting department. What is the best way of dealing with a very strong budget? And then let me remind some of your neighbors and friends that the metro system is based upon what I brought under the Obama administration. The kickstart was a $900 million. I've always been a supporter, and I believe that Houston is on the verge of getting a system that will go into neighborhoods, and people will feel the vitality of a transit system, that they really can park their car at home and get to their place of business, of entertainment, of dining, or just meeting up with friends. So I want to thank them for their commentary. I want them to look a little harder, and they will have seen me. I may be the only candidate that was running that had been seen as much, because I didn't hunker down during the pandemic. I was working with the food bank, giving out large amounts of food, but we were the first city to get testing and vaccines, because I chaired the bipartisan COVID task force. I was on Homeland Security, and I worked with the state and the federal government to get Houston first in line for the resources that they needed. So we'll look forward to meeting your neighbors and maybe pop up where I might be, because part of my theme is also Houston Pops, and we want an exciting city, and we want them to be part of it.
Ms. Jackson Lee, I have one more question for you. As you know, Houston is dealing with a crisis when it comes to stray dogs and cats on our streets throughout the city. Our shelters are overpopulated. Money, including resources that could be going to other programs, are having to be spent on barely managing this problem. Are you aware of how significant this issue is for this city, and what will you do to overcome this problem?
I absolutely am. I have one of the best ratings in the United States Congress on endangered species and the affection for the nation's animals, if you will. And so I know bark is overridden, overutilized, and it needs help. So one of the things that I think would be very helpful is that the money's allotted for that, which a constituent, when I was out campaigning, brought to my attention. I hope that he will hear me say, we will find the monies that are to be utilized for bark and utilize them. We want to be more merciful than having to euthanize these precious animals, and we want to work with the county. So my first point will be that we'll find a way to assess the crisis at bark. It's not just by eyeballing it. It's not just by hearing about it. And I know people say, you should already know the problem, but we have to know how to fix the problem. And so we will assess how to best fix the problem, but working with our unit over in the county, using dollars that are already scheduled for the taking care of our animals, and bringing that number of euthanizing much lower than it is. And I will look to the federal government to see what kind of grants a city can get so that for better health circumstances, when you find dogs and cats that have lost their life along the neighborhoods, that's a health threat, if you will. So let's see what kind of grant money can be utilized, but it will be a priority. I've already heard from our neighbors, and I am clearly ready to tackle it and to be humane, but to also balance it with what we have to do, and then have it balanced with new ideas for our new, for our animal neighbors. And I would do more of the come get a dog day, if you will, come get a cat day, and make it a fun thing for our citizens to come and care for an animal. One thing we know, when you teach a child to take care of an animal and to be affectionate with an animal, you teach kindness and character and integrity. And so maybe we'll have a character, integrity, and kindness day to adopt an animal. But we'll have it as a focus because I care about our four-legged friends as much as we care about those who are our neighbors, our children, our families. And if I didn't start out with this, I want this to be a livable city with a knowledge of kitchen table issues. I want our families taking care of our neighbors, and I want them to feel in a city that is loving, that is unified, and does not discriminate. So my friends in the LGBTQ plus community need to know they'll be at the seat of empowerment. My diverse, if you will, neighbors coming from all communities, speaking 140 plus languages, they will know that they have a home in Houston, Texas. And so as it relates to our stray animals and to bark, we'll certainly work on that because we want to please our constituents and our neighbors. And I know many of them are very concerned.
Yeah, it is. It's a major concern. It's devastating and it's heartbreaking, and it stretches beyond just those who care for these animals. You know, it's as you mentioned, it's a public health issue that's impacting every resident in this city. It's cyclical. We so much appreciate your time. I know you have a busy 30 days ahead of you. Your final thoughts on the next month ahead?
Thank you. I need that. This is a new race. I was outspent at every turn by my present opponent. I am, and will tell the story, that I've been a city congressperson. I have been here for every disaster with solutions. I am an education mayor. In terms of looking at ways, I've always looked at ways to invest in our actual schools. I've given money to my school district, but I've given money directly to public schools because they have programs that can be supported. I remember planting trees that were funded by the U.S. Department of Agriculture at one of our middle schools, teaching children agriculture in an urban setting. And I am committed to finding creative ways to fight crime. One, we must get violent criminals off the street, and I'll be able to tell that story, but at the same time, giving $6 million from the federal government to hire more police and to get them trained on mental health issues, as I said, domestic violence, sex trafficking, human trafficking, and as well, working with the federal government to get these guns off the street and to stop gun trafficking and stolen guns. So I'll be able to tell a story that is vibrant, that is alive, and we'll be able to campaign on who has really done something for the city as opposed to saying what you're going to do. I'm excited about that opportunity. I'm excited about meeting my neighbors again, and I want them to be excited about a mayor that will be transparent, a mayor that they can trust, and a mayor that cares about this city. And I always say, I love you and there's nothing you can do about it. And as well, someone who welcomes, the city will welcome the change they can really believe in. And that's Sheila Jackson Lee as the next mayor of the city of Houston.
U.S. Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, thank you again so much for your time this morning. We do appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to reiterate, Senator John Whitmire had confirmed a live 8:30 interview with us right here on KPRC 2 Plus now, but it was at about 7 o'clock this morning. His camp called to cancel, noting a scheduling conflict.